Hi everybody, welcome to week 1 of our full 2024 painting class. Hope you enjoy it. Let's go. But this is a photograph of Cherry Hill Gate. It's one of my favorite little places to go for a walk when I don't have a lot of time to go anywhere. And there's this boardwalk through the marshes. Now, what's been interesting is this place has changed quite a lot over the last few years because they've been doing some work on the waterfront to change the direction of the walls are something to do with fish conservation. So I actually did this painting back in 2015. So this is when I was pregnant with Dean. So this is a stylized painting of basically almost the same place, but there used to be a river here which isn't there anymore. They've let the marsh grow in and they've redirected the river. So it's quite interesting. It's like almost the same location. It's just they've moved things around a bit. But the reason why I wanted to show you this is how I very much stylized the scene. So today I want you to kind of choose what style you would like to paint in. We're going to do a reference sketch as well. And you can decide if you want to go for realism or if you want to go for semi-realism or fully stylized. So this is kind of almost abstract. This is fully stylized. Leanne, I'm just going to let you in.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm just going to put this here so I don't have to hold it. But you know, when we stylize and simplify a painting, you know, when we've done the folk art in the past, you can really simplify it down. So when we do our reference sketch today, think about what style you would like to paint this in. I've chosen this picture because it is quite simple and it's got lots of room for us to be imaginative. So one of the things I might do is put some tall bulrushes in the foreground, kind of up to about here. Again, because at the moment we've got like a good middle ground and background, but we don't really have much in the foreground. So I might put some bulrushes in the foreground. Now, we've talked in the past about having a like a Z, you know, like a line of sight to allow the eye to travel through. So have a look at the picture. Where at the moment would you say your eye begins and ends in this picture?
Well, with the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Would be one. Yeah, that's your first part.
Yeah.
And then it sort of goes to the trees, the colors of the trees.
Yeah. So what would you do to create a bit more of a journey for the eye? What would you add or take away or change to create a little bit more?
I was thinking on the boardwalk in the foreground to have maybe a silhouette of a person or maybe some birds sitting on the railing. So that might take it to the left, a jog left, and then to the bulrushes and then to the trees.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because it's very well known for the chickadees and all of the birds and things. So yeah, I like the idea of a silhouette of a person taking the photograph. That would be kind of cool.
You need something on the right side though to bring your whole eye onto that side.
I agree. So one thing you could do is with color, you could put a lot more of the color on this side.
Yeah.
Like the fall colors. So you could make this more of the greenery and put more fall colors here. You could also change the height of some of the trees. At the moment, they're all pretty level. You could put like some taller trees in front on this side. And just by doing a taller tree on this side and maybe reduce the height of the background trees, that could again create. So there's some very simple changes you can make to this photograph to make it a lot more of a story, you know, and not just, you know, it's a beautiful scene, but it's not very exciting. You can also do some cool things with the clouds as well, and bring your attention to the clouds again, so you can create this journey. So you could put a taller tree here, or you could put a very dramatic cloud here and then create a journey, and then maybe put some bulrushes here. So just by thinking about that S curve to help your eye have a journey through the picture. So that's what we're going to have a go at today. We're going to do a sketch first and think about how we can make this interesting. So what I would like to do is do 3 sketches today of the same scene with different focal points and different drama. And also, if you want to change the style in each sketch as well, if you want to do a realism sketch and then a stylized sketch, you could have a very, very folk arty sketch if you wanted to. So we're going to do 3 different sketches. So we may spend most of today doing our preliminary work and our sketches and deciding on our color palette. But I feel like this preliminary work ahead of painting makes the painting part a lot quicker and a lot more accurate. It's the underneath the iceberg. We see the iceberg, the top, but all the work is like underneath. It's like the duck gliding along the river, but the busy the feet paddling underneath. That's all the work that we do prior to jumping in and doing a painting. So this term I'd like us to really think about the planning side of paintings before we jump in and do them. And that's the difference between painting me tutoring you for a painting that I've already painted, and the difference between painting something that we plan together. So that's what I'd like to focus on. Hi Nina, hello, welcome. Okay, so we're gonna draw 3 rectangles in the proportions that you would like, the size of the canvas that you've chosen. So if you're painting on an 11 by 14, just reduce it down and make sure that you scale down your sketch to the same proportions. We're going to do 3 rectangles. If you want to do it more on an elongated canvas like this, make sure your sketch represents that shape. So if you happen to have some really cool long thin canvases that you would like to play with, make sure your sketch reflects those dimensions. Is it easier if I put it up there? Where's the best? Kind of there. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
good on the easel. This, Julie, just as immediate feedback, this is very great discussion. I found already that intro really helpful because I'm struggling going through my many photos I've taken to paint, and I keep looking for the perfect composition, and it's not always or rarely there.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting you have a license to combine, so this was very useful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really nice feedback. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. You have, I mean, it's very rare you get the perfect photograph, and that's why, yeah, we can do whatever we want. We can change it any way we want. It's our painting. We can be as creative as we want. Sometimes it's a matter of taking foreground from one painting and putting into the other painting. The only difference is if we start playing with the composition, we have to make sure it's in perspective, and that's where we're going to be very much focusing on vanishing points and 1.2 point and multi-point perspective this term as well. So those people who are in my drawing class on a Friday will have a little bit of a head start on those aspects. But Susan, I'm very happy to share my notes from the drawing class as well. Anybody who needs a supporting material, I can send you the Google Doc notes on planning and putting perspective in. But one thing we're going to do today, as well as designing the compositions, we're going to make sure in our sketch it's in perfect perspective before we start painting. But yeah, so Nina, one thing we were talking about is taking a scene and then adding or deleting aspects of it to give us more of a journey for the eye, to make it more interesting for the eye. So we talked about maybe putting a taller tree here, or an interesting cloud, or maybe more color on this side, so that our eye kind of goes in an S curve and back, and then maybe putting some taller bulrushes here again, so our eye travels through. And we're going to do 3 sketches with 3 slightly different designs, and then decide which one we're going to work on as our painting. So I'll switch cameras now. All you're going to need right now is a pencil and paper. And we're going to do this for all of the scenes we're going to be painting this term. There's my vanishing point. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
This is my horizon line. And I'm going to measure. So I've put a vertical line down the middle, and I'm going to make sure that it's the same measurement either side. So I'm going to take this 2 inches from my center, and it'll be 2 inches from the center there. It's going to be slightly off. So just bear in mind, I can't erase anything.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting, the early discussion. Leanne's instinct was to have more sky. My instinct was to have more land. But this is fun, maybe doing both and seeing
Yeah.
what, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is why I always do at least 3 thumbnail sketches when I'm planning a painting, because you can really change the image completely just by doing some slight changes.
And
So,
paint is expensive.
yeah, exactly. This is why we don't dive in and paint straight away. I'm also going to share with you a few little tricks that I've discovered over the holidays with regards to saving paint.
Just a question on perspective. Julie, you've made your lines perfectly symmetric so that the midpoint is that dot, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Is there any perspective rules if you wanted it asymmetric, like to make does it throw off the perspective if you wanted to make it not coming directly at you, but slightly, the walkway in
Yeah.
your, yeah.
So one thing, this is actually if you have a look, you are right. It's more towards the right, the walkway. But if you have a look at the railing, that's what I'm drawing right now. Sorry, I should have explained that. So you see the railing. So this part here and this part is pretty much symmetrical, but this part is coming in a little bit. So you're right. There's no rule. As long as you have the vanishing point, everything is going to that vanishing. So everything in the picture is going to be going to that vanishing point, and it's like a pendulum.
So if I want to go crazy and change the angle of the walkway, I can still follow the rules of perspective if I want to make it.
Absolutely. So if we were to do it here, let's do it slightly differently. Let's do the same horizon line. Okay. Let's take it more over here. So yes, you can definitely do it. You know, you could really exaggerate it. And have it more like that. And as long as you follow I mean the photograph is more skew. Have it like, yeah. Yeah, you can for sure have it like that. In fact, I kind of like that more. This is why we do lots of sketches. So, one thing I wanted to point out is you see this is why I found this composition so interesting. You see these the little supports here. The distance between the supports reduces very quickly. So if you think, first of all, the second support is kind of a quarter of the way up the composition. The second one, and then the third one, you see how close they get so quickly? So really, it's only really the first four that you can see separate. Then they all start kind of merging together.
So we use the vertical for to line up the spindle things there.
Yeah, so they're always vertical.
Yes. Okay.
And you're going to basically halve the width, even for the second one. Going to halve the width. The third one is going to be even less. And then you're not really going to see the rest. They're just going to kind of fuzz into, kind of all blend together. So the only detail you really need to put is the first three. Then they're just going to kind of do that. Thanks, Leanne, for trying to rally the troops. I appreciate it.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I think everybody was excited to get to join up. I'm not sure about Heather, and she moved in. She's had a lot of disruption and been away, so I'm not 100% sure about her. But Chris said she would be away a lot of the time, but she'd like to follow the recordings. So I'm not sure if they registered or not, but there certainly was interest there.
No, they haven't signed up just yet, but I don't mind if people want to sign up a little bit later.
Well, I think when they have the recordings, it's very easy to catch up. And
Yeah.
I think that they're away and whatnot.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm hopeful they'll come too.
This is where I can't erase. So you'll have to ignore my little oopses because I can't erase. This line, just ignore this line, okay?
Whoa.
It's interesting, there's this kind of, there are quite a few different levels. So this is like the grassy line here. And then there's some bulrushes here. There's like a different line along there. Then we've got the tree line here. So you've already got, if you look carefully, you've got this grass line here, which extends over here. This side is a little bit higher. Then you've got the bulrushes, which you could exaggerate the colours. Then you've got the tree lines, which actually have different heights. And then you could put some taller ones here. So we could have my idea is you could have some you could have your bulrushes here, and then you could maybe have some jack pines rounded a little bit closer here, and then have all of your colourful foliage back there. What we'll do is once we've done one sketch, we'll share it and we'll see. Then we'll have a go at sketch 2. One good thing about sketching in ink is you have to be quite deliberate.
When I'm doing perspective like this, I feel like I need a protractor to get the angles right. Back to geometry class.
The other interesting thing you could do is, you know, if your vanishing point is here, you could do something interesting with your trees. So they kind of do this.
Call from one circular.
No.
And you could have some kind of interesting cloud shape here and draw attention to your vanishing point with your clouds here. So then you could have all of your bright colors and stuff here. Now, one interesting thing, looking at the photograph, where do you think the light's coming from?
The right.
Yeah, because look at where the shadows are. There's a lot of
Yeah.
shadow here. Yeah, and there's light here. Yeah, I would agree. It's coming from kind of maybe behind and from the right.
That one shadow on the right-hand side of the boardwalk is the only like in terms of getting variation in values, it's the deepest value from what.
But you can exaggerate the shadows. Like there's some interesting there's some nice triangle shapes here. You know? There's you could exaggerate the shadows that you can see. So yeah, so you could draw attention to the vanishing point by putting some clouds here. more color in the trees over here. You could make this your focal point. There is an interesting little tree poking out here.
Are there any wildflowers out there in that marsh, Julie, or is that starting to stretch the limit of what you?
That
we
could
can
be
do?
wildflowers. There is a bulrush right here.
Your
You can
bulrush
see.
is, I wasn't sure if there was a wildflower opportunity.
It can be anything you want. Just remember this is marsh, but you could have some wildflowers right in the corner here.
Excuse me, I was just interrupted with the phone, but
Yeah.
so the second sketch, where is the horizon line, please?
It's here. So I put it in the same place. I'm just changing the focal point.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for interjecting. I was blending the two paintings together into one and realized we moved on to number 2. Is Jane there?
I'm here.
Why don't you draw in that big heron flying out of there?
Yeah.
Thought about it. I seem to have a good handle on it right now.
Actually, when I was there last Monday, we did see herons and we saw a different species that someone had the thing on their phone that they could identify. And it was a night heron. It was a
Oh.
different coloring. And it was really neat because she had the thing on her phone that she could identify the birds.
Oh, yeah. You can do that with flowers too.
Yes, yeah.
I put it on the identification and it said great blue heron, so I was pretty thrilled.
Yeah,
they are so beautiful. My brother lives in Winnipeg, and I showed him the picture what I was working on, and he said, oh, great blue heron, remember that at the cottage growing up? You know, it was pretty special for us, right? You know, so
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Was that with a hiking group or birding group, Leanne, or on your own?
It was with the Walking with Friends Monday morning, but I only go between classes. So I missed it this morning, but that's okay. I was happy to start painting again.
Oh, I appreciate the sacrifice, Leah.
Oh, no. It's okay. I can walk on my own, but it is fun to go with others, and they spot other things. We go to different trails, and a lot on to RBG. So beautiful there.
Brownie Creek's another one.
Oh yes, that's a
Yeah.
nice place. Right along the creek there. Yeah, it'd be
Mhm.
nice to set up and paint there.
Yep.
Your number 2 looks like my number 1, Julie.
We're still talking about paintings. Sorry. Oops.
Having 2 toddlers who are just entering that stage of pottiness, that my mind will soon be going to that place rather than.
So what's everybody's thoughts about having the emphasis on the end of the boardwalk with a tree and maybe a dramatic cloud, as opposed to having a tree on the right-hand side? Which one of those do you think would appeal to you more in a composition?
I like it, but what I've done, I put the bird over at the far right. So it's just sort of coming in front of the trees.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know.
Could even have like a waterway like this.
Oh yeah. You're so good that way.
You know, I think that would be interesting.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You see how I'm going from the same vanishing point?
Yep.
I quite like that. You can still have the tree there. Even have this wider so it kind of goes underneath the dock, you know? And then you just have your grasses and things on this side, and this could be, you know, a few bulrushes, but this could be water. Because there did used to be water here. They've just diverted it somewhere else. Yeah, that could be an interesting one. Let's do one where we drop the horizon line now. We do more sky, just to completely change it. Does anybody know how Karen's getting on health-wise? Is she okay?
Someone told me that she is having treatments again,
Oh.
and she has to manage the side effects. But the good news is that she has her first grandchild.
Oh,
I'm thinking it was a daughter, but I can't be sure about that. And she's out of town, so she's been out. So Karen has been out of town to see the daughter and help with the newborn.
oh,
But he or she might be a little bit older now. I'm not sure. So this is sort of like secondhand. So it
yeah,
might not be right current, but so I think it's encouraging that she's able to go and enjoy her first
yeah.
grandchild, despite the treatment and the side effects and all that. And Heather moved very quickly. She had been looking and then decided to sell the 2-story and go right into a condo.
Oh, wow.
And it all happened fast. And then she had a vacation booked and lots of going on. But she's settling in and very happy now
Oh,
in this
lovely. Because Heather was having a reaction to the paint, wasn't she?
Yeah, she had a paint allergy.
Oh yes, okay. I don't know. I've been wearing gloves. I started when I saw Chris doing it because my hands just got so dry. And I probably paint more on my hands a lot of times than I do on the canvas. I smear across when I think something's dry and things like that.
It seems that half of CFUW Oakville want to live in that condo building where Heather moved, and they do have a art studio.
Oh, wow.
If any more people
Yes,
move in
I
there,
heard.
we have organized classes. I know Heather
Yeah,
said
I
they
heard
wanted to.
that. Yeah.
Heather said
Oh, I could do that. I could go there.
they've been
Yeah.
eyeing that. She'd been eyeing that building for a while, and it's another thing happened with another CFEW friend with the granary, that the exact type of unit they were looking for came on the market, so it was a sudden decision and just go for it. And
Where did
Yes.
that move? Which apartment is it?
Well, there's 3 buildings and on both sides of Lake Shore, and I can tell you the number. I've got it handy here. And there's quite a few. They not only have an art room, but they have a workshop, that people can do woodworking or make wooden toys and things like that for children. And they have yoga classes, they have a swimming pool. There's different programs. Some you have to pay for, some are included. And it's a little bit older building, but apparently it's well kept and the rooms are large.
they just went through them. Each of those buildings have gone through recent massive special assessments because they had to dig out the complete parking garages and things. So always a risk when you're in a condo.
Yeah, that's true. It's 2170 Marine Drive is one of the buildings. That's where Gay Loveland, she moved in the last year or so.
Thanks.
Now, which sketch are you warming towards? 1, 2, or 3? So this one dropped the horizon line, more sky, more trees. This one raised the horizon line. This one I've done a symmetrical dock. This one I've taken it more off to one side. What do you like?
Number 2
Number
is
2?
I like. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just me.
Well, I like number 1 because I'd like to have more room to really work on the perspective of the boardwalk, because that's a bit of a challenge for me. And I'd like to have the chance to practice it more, which I think in the very first one, I wanted to do it instead of the off. Well, maybe the off would be easier. I'm not sure. But anyway, either one of those with more land.
I
Do
do
you
like,
like the focal trees being on the right or at the focal point?
I like it in the very first one with on the right, some bulrushes, but I do like, it would be fun to try a heron on the railing, like a large enough bird that it might be easier.
I'm going to leave that to Jane. She's the heron expert.
you
I'm
want
not
to
you
even
share?
going to attempt that.
Does
Oh,
anybody
you've
want to
done,
share what they've done?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jane, can you share with the group that haven't seen it yet?
The bird?
Oh, I meant our sketches.
Yeah.
You suggested we share our sketches, Julie?
Oh, sorry. I thought you wanted Jane to show a heron. I thought that's what you just
Sorry,
said.
you had suggested we were deciding which sketch to
Yes.
do. You suggested
Yeah.
we share our sketches?
But Leanne hasn't seen. Have you seen Jane's heron yet?
actually, I had just stepped out, so no, I didn't. Can I see it
Do
again,
you mind
Jane?
sharing it?
Sure.
Oh, wow.
I have my bulrushes here across the pond. Yeah.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Isn't
That
it
was
amazing?
my photo.
Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, with the wingspan, I think it seems like it might be easier than having it perched on a railing or something like that.
Depends on how far you're going to put it away, like what distance you're going to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Because
almost seems like, oh, sorry.
it's quite detailed. Like I was,
Wow.
Oh, yes, you've got the wings
Yeah.
very delineated and the tailbone,
yeah.
feathers.
Yeah. So anyway,
Right. Who would like to share first?
well, I don't care. I'll just show.
Okay.
This
Can I
one was-
spotlight you?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
This is the first one playing around. I just went by what you were doing.
Yeah.
Second
Oh,
one.
that's nice. Yeah.
And then the third one, whoops, which way do I go? I just am in the process, but it's up in
Yeah.
the clouds. And I don't like that as much because I'm not very good at clouds yet.
I think I like your first one. Yeah. Who else would like to share?
Well,
I can share if you like.
Oh, yes, please. Thanks.
Um,
Oh.
so
Ooh.
when you started talking about water, I made my water just a little bit exposed of water, and then
Oh, I like
under
that.
the bridge to sort of bring. But I just started the more sky, and I like that too because it gives it
Yeah.
more depth. But
Yeah.
so and I put in a few birds just to.
You've got so many dimensions going on there. I really like how you put the river through the middle, like horizontally.
I think I might edit out that once I started adding the bulrushes, the water, that maybe to remove some of those trees because there's like the defined trees because
Yeah.
there's too much going on. But anyways, it was just I tried the horizontal water just to sort of
Yeah.
lead the eye across. But
I love that. I like how you've got different levels because you've got your your tree up at the top right hand side, and then you've got other trees kind of lower. You've got like lots of dimensions there. I really like that. Yeah, that's a really lovely drawing. Leanne, do you want to share what you've done?
I'll show mine. It's pretty rough. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's very rough.
Ooh.
I have a little
That's
more
cool.
clouds in, and I put a few bulrushes at the beginning, and I was trying to use different values for the grasses to show the different species and that kind of thing.
So the one thing I will say, Leanne, is your boardwalk needs to be twice as wide at the forefront, the foreground.
Oh, that's why I'm having so much trouble.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Twice as wide. Okay.
Twice
Well,
as
that's
wide.
very helpful because I was
Yeah.
struggling to get the right perspective, and I do want to get practice that and
It
learn.
needs to go beyond halfway across.
Oh, you are right. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to be working from my first drawing. What I do really like, and I found very inspiring from all of you, is there's little pointers which I'm going to add in from all of your ideas. I like how Susan has dropped the horizon line on one side, so I may drop the horizon line, have these bushes here, and then have a second horizon line here with some trees further away, and maybe put these on the trees further away. I feel like I really like that, so I may have one horizon line here and then a dropped one there. I thought that looked really good. I like, Susan, how you've got your river going more horizontal, so I might take mine a little bit lower and have it coming across like that. Quite like that. I think having more ground and less sky is a good idea. You could even raise this even higher and have more drama, but I think about a third of the way down is a good starting point. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna work from my first sketch. I'm gonna start doing a little bit of background painting. I think I'll just prepare my canvas with, I'm gonna paint the whole thing blue, I think, as a base coat, and then go from there. So I think I'm gonna do cerulean blue. Now, if you wanted to try painting your canvas red, you can do, because there's a lot of fall colors here, and you know, there's two ways to approach this. You could paint in layers, or you could paint the whole thing red, sketch it out with thin black paint, and then, you know, we've done two different ways of painting. We've done kind of the group of seven way, and we've done the kind of layering way. So if you want to paint it red and sketch it out that way, or if you want to, you know, paint in layers and do the sky first and then the foliage first, it's up to you. I think I'm gonna do the painting the sky first, do the background trees and work forwards. I think that's what I'm gonna do. What's everybody's thoughts about whether to paint it red and sketch the whole painting out first, or to actually work in layers, background to foreground?
I like blue. I like when we do
Yeah,
the blue backgrounds myself.
the nice thing is if we paint this all cerulean blue and then use the cerulean blue with yellow ochre and cadmium yellow to bring in our greens, then the cerulean blue background we can leave a little bit of a show in, and I think it would look really nice. Right, I'm gonna go get my water and paints ready. And yeah, I'm really excited to paint this, and I've really enjoyed planning this with you. I think this was a really good exercise, and we're going to do this for all of our paintings. So we'll stick to doing two paintings every 2 weeks. Sorry, one painting every 2 weeks. But I would like submissions over the next week of ideas for further paintings. I say I have been taking a lot of reference pictures. I've got enough for us to use just my photos, but I would like to see if anybody else has taken some really cool pictures that they would like to attempt. I would say stick to something simple because we can put the creativity into the sketch. If it's something very complicated, we're going to have to take edits out. So if we stick to fairly simple scenes. But yeah, I love these colors. I think this is going to be great. So we will be painting from our sketch. We'll be using the photograph as reference, but our sketch is the main reference we're going to be using. So you want to be keeping that fairly handy. Okay, I'm going to get my... I'm going to do
Just
that.
a reminder, Julie, if you don't mind, just even sending the raw recording.
Yep.
I know I'm going to be away and miss next week, so I'm going to try to do as much as I can. So
Yeah,
I'll be ready
do it
for the
as soon
third
as
week.
we finish the class. I don't have another class to rush to today. My other classes don't start till the 30th of September. So I have this
good.
afternoon to process it and send it to you.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it's probably, I think it might be nice for you to, as you get started this class, not to have to rush back, because that's for the seniors at Waterdown. So for the first few weeks anyway.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. I find it really hard to get the plastic off these things. I love these baking sheets. There's what are they called? Silicone baking sheets. Because the paint just peels right off. And it saves like using newspaper or plastic or anything. It just I love the baking sheets. Very satisfying peeling the paint off as well. cerulean blue with a little bit of burnt sienna for my sky, just so it's not too blue. And I think I am going to bring in a little bit of cobalt at the top here as well. So I can see there's some cobalt blue. So this, I'm not going to do pure cerulean. Cobalt and cerulean. Hey, busy, busy, let's get busy. Doing cobalt, cerulean. Cut out my cerulean.
What was the other color you had, Julie? Cobalt, cerulean, and
Burnt sienna and white.
Okay.
Yeah.
and white. Yeah. Burnt sienna.
Yeah. Don't forget to dampen your canvas first. So I have completely stopped using a wet palette. I use my little bead tray now instead. This paint's been here since before I went away in July and it's still liquid. And I haven't put any kind of cover, you know, apart from just the lids. I haven't put any wet sponge or anything, and the paints are all still liquid.
And it hasn't gone moldy.
Hasn't gone moldy. Nope, because I just put the cover straight. It's amazing. Because when I put the wall, you know, like a sponge in, it does go moldy after a while. But this is from end of July, and all my paint is still liquid. And this is just a 125 bead container. Amazing. All these years I've been spending money on wet palettes.
This is all cobalt blue.
So cobalt and cerulean. So I've done cobalt. I'm going to change the light a little bit. Yeah, so this is cobalt and this is cerulean. It's not really picking up on the camera very well. They are quite different.
Yeah.
I'll bring in some white and that should make it show up a bit better. Yeah, I can't believe this paint's still liquid after all that time.
Full disclosure, I'm experimenting here with something I've never done.
Oh yeah?
I just bought I've never owned a tablet and I just bought an iPad.
Oh.
I'm trying to, you know, the one that painting we did that made me excited about getting the iPad
Yeah.
was the waterfalls we did with the lookout, you know, with the deep.
Yeah.
Smoky Hollow.
Yeah. And so I'm want to experiment with painting with the iPad. So that's what I'm doing right now. So this
Oh,
is the first time I've ever done this.
so are you actually, instead of using paint, you're actually using Procreate?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you
Good
got an
for
Apple Pencil?
Yes, I just got it this past week.
Ooh, it's so exciting.
It will,
And
and
there's
I
an
know,
undo button. So my top tip if you're using Procreate, Susan, is use the layers.
exactly. And that's what the painting we did with the waterfall, I learned about the concept of layers because I watched the Procreate video.
Yeah.
That's where I got excited about waterfalls, you know, with, you know. So anyways, this is an experiment and I don't even own, I've only recently even owned a smartphone. So this is,
look at you.
I mean, I'm computer literate. I'm just not tablet, you know, by any means. So anyways, this is my first attempt.
Oh, you're going to have so much fun.
I want to become BFFs with Dean. He can walk me.
Dean, yes, absolutely. Dean's really good at it. Yeah. Maybe I'll get him to run a workshop and I'll attend as well because he's much better at it than me.
Well, if you've got any interest in an online Procreate drawing class, I'm definitely interested.
Oh, okay. Well, I could do a basics one. I mean, I'm no expert, but I could do a foundational one. I can show you what I've learned. I love Procreate. I use it because I have to make a lot of like, you know, merchandise for the business. So, you know, t-shirts and aprons and things like that. So I use it for a lot of the design work for Cricut, for my Cricut machine. I'm living dangerously here. I don't have an apron on. And I've got a brand new cardigan on and brand new shorts, so
Living on the edge.
I'm living on the edge today.
I forgot to put the burnt sienna in here. I just realized.
You know, I haven't used it. As me saying, I
Oh.
decided not to go. I was going to grey it down, and I decided, nah, I'm going to go for a nice bright sky today. So, yeah, here's me saying use burnt sienna. I didn't use it myself because I normally do grey down my sky, but I was just in the mood for a really bright sky today. I was inspired by outside. The nice thing about covering the whole canvas is you can decide which way up you want it to be before you start committing to the rest of the painting. Yeah, I'm happy with that sky.
So the sky is, would you say it's overhead for the source of the light? It
I would
seems
say
to be like noon.
the light is
New.
coming from kind of behind and to the right, I would say. Looking at where the shadows are. Definitely from the right hand side.
Oh, yes, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
How's everybody doing with that background?
Good.
Are we winning?
Yes.
I like this so much. I quite like to do this on a really big canvas. So I am going to get out a filbert for my first layer of foliage. So I'd go for, you know, a fairly smallish filbert. There's what's this? I've lost the number on it. It's probably about a number 4 or 6 filbert, this one. Fairly small one. Okay, so working from my sketch, I'm going to put in kind of some faded distant trees. So imagine this kind of layer here, but I think I'm going to do kind of some muted trees in the distance. So I'm going to take my base color, my cerulean blue, and add a little bit of yellow ochre to it. Get a slightly bigger filbert. I'm gonna get my cerulean blue, a little bit of yellow ochre. I'll put a little bit of cadmium yellow in there. Yeah, that's good. And I'm gonna add a little bit of white. See how this turns out. Okay, so my horizon line based on my sketch. I'm going to take my horizon line to about a third of the canvas. I'm just going to use my ruler here. So this is my cerulean blue, yellow ochre, and cadmium yellow. I'm just going to go across.
Excuse me, Julie,
Yeah.
can you tell me again what colors you mixed there for the foliage in the background?
Cerulean blue,
Uh-huh.
yellow ochre, and cadmium yellow.
Okay. And you're lightening it as you go to the right, closer to the sun?
Not particularly. I just didn't mix it particularly well on purpose so that I'd get a bit of a variegated, but this is going to be kind of a distant layer, so this layer doesn't really matter that much because I'm going to cover most of it anyway.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. And you follow the horizon line.
Yeah. You could make your horizon line more dramatic and interesting. You know, you could have different heights. It is quite kind of samey all the way along. So you could, you know, make, but we can add that in later as well with the other layers.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm working on a square, so I've sort of tried to adjust my
Oh,
sketch to
nice.
the square.
Yeah.
So I'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Nice. And I'm gonna take bring in a couple of darker green shadows. I'm gonna add a little bit more cerulean blue to the mix. A little bit more yellow ochre. So this is cerulean blue and yellow ochre without the cadmium, and I'm just gonna put in a few darker areas here and there. Because my light's coming this way, I'm only putting the darker areas on the left-hand side. do a slightly dropped. See where this, we've got a lower horizon line here, so I'm going to drop this here. So this is where I'm up to. I did work a little bit on the trees and foliage. Enhance this a little bit. You can see I did do a little bit of work on the trees and foliage, just to brighten all that up a little bit. I'll probably brighten it up even more once I put the clouds in and stuff. So the one thing I wanted to do today, you'll notice I have a pin in my canvas and a ruler. So I wanted to show you about vanishing points today. So this is a very easy way of doing your vanishing points, is to just pivot your ruler around. So yeah, it's kind of handy. So we did do a few sketches last week, and one of the sketches I did was with the vanishing point, as if I was stood here looking at the vanishing point there, so everything's coming this way. The other one, which I know is slightly off screen, is this one where we're stood a little bit more looking that way, so the vanishing point is coming out a little bit this way. So I know, was it Susan, did you say you wanted to do it slightly off like that, or was it somebody else?
I just sloped it slightly differently,
Yeah,
but no, it's pretty close.
yeah. So
Can I just give you feedback, Julie?
yeah,
I'm working off of two devices, one where I have the partial painting you sent us, and then and they're both MacBook Pros with really good color and screen resolution. There's a huge difference of magnitude in the color intensity of the forest in the attachment you sent. Like when I opened the attachment, the colors are so vibrant, I almost thought it was a photograph. And then I realized it was the partial painting. So I almost thought what you're showing on your screen now was a completely different painting. It's so much more, I'm not saying one's better or they're just different, orders of magnitude different in terms of the color and the color vibrance.
right.
So,
I don't know if anybody else opened up Julie's partial painting and has the same.
I have it open now, but I don't understand what you're saying
No, I
about.
don't really understand what you're saying.
Oh, no, the photo, what you emailed us, an attachment of a photo of the painting.
Yeah.
The colors are far more vibrant
Well, it all depends
than
on your
what,
screen as well.
than what's in the painting off the, from, through the camera.
I don't know. It looks spot on to me.
Yeah, it looks fine from my screen here.
No, they both look fine. They just look completely. I can show you. Are you I mean, I don't want to take up time. I can show you quickly. They both. I mean, the one you sent, it's gorgeous, but here. Let me just move it away from the light. It's harder to see when I'm facing into the light.
You can turn the brightness up on your screen, Susan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you look at F2,
Oh, it's not brightness. It's color saturation. They look like completely different paintings. Anyways, I won't take any more time on this. I mean, the partial photo's gorgeous, but the color saturation is far greater.
Oh,
yeah, I can't really change my camera, so
Yeah, no, it's just an observation.
yeah, I've got a very expensive high definition camera. I
Yeah.
can't really change anything.
No,
I've got the
and I wasn't.
brightness up as bright as it'll go.
Yeah.
I can't really change that. Maybe just change. You can change the saturation on your screen.
Yeah.
On
No, I don't
your
want
Mac.
to. No, I'll just leave it the way it is. But
Yeah,
okay.
it looks fine on my screen. I've got a good screen. I've got a big Samsung. Yeah, I think it might just be everybody's screen. You know, have you ever been to like a TV shop and the shop might have 30 TVs and they're all playing the same show, but they
Yeah.
all look slightly different. It's all to do with your settings on your
Okay.
display.
Again,
Yeah.
they both look fine.
Yeah.
They're different. But anyways.
I printed them both out and they look just the same. They look great, except she's got some black in there, but otherwise
Yeah.
for the shadows, but otherwise it's like spot on, just like perfect.
Yeah. Okay, well let's have a go at vanishing points today. So you'll see from the photograph, I've put the vanishing point here. It's actually the vanishing point is always on the horizon line. So if you imagine that, you know, the horizon line where the sky meets the ground will probably be about here, just slightly higher. So I would put the vanishing point there. And then can you see how looking at the planks of wood, they're just slightly moving in this, there's slightly more angle on this side than there is on this side. So the plank that's directly a straight line is actually kind of there. So that makes our vanishing point here. See what I mean? And then it's slightly more this way, the angle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would put the vanishing point there. You find that the straight line, so the straight line is kind of, yeah, there, and then the angle is kind of coming up, yeah, that way. So so that's what I've put the ruler in here, and I've put like a little safety pin here. Now obviously the ideal place for it would be ideal if I just had a piece of string. So that's something you can do, is to just put a pin in and have a piece of string, because you don't want anything that's wide like the ruler. But I'm doing this just to explain the process of, you see how that's the pivot point. So if you have a look at where the boardwalk is in relation to the photograph, it's almost halfway across, well, it is halfway across my canvas. So our pivot point will be taking it to here on the canvas. So it will be kind of like that. That'll be the pivot point for the dock. And then the other part of the dock, obviously we've also got the railing here. The other part of the dock is about a finger space, because I'm trying to paint roughly in the same dimensions as the photograph. This is slightly bigger. So the pivot point there would be kind of here. So I just stuck the ruler in there so you could see what I mean about the pivot point. So this is my vanishing point where the pin is. So if I take this to about halfway, just gonna get a little, might use the end of my paintbrush to mark it, see if that works. That's showing up? No. I don't want to use marker, and I know you have trouble seeing pencil on my screen. Maybe I'll try a white pencil, see if that works. Oh, it's kind of showing. I don't really want anything that's going to mark. There we go, that's showing a little bit. And then here, so that's my center line there. And then it's starting to go out to about, let's say about there. You can also make that a bit more extreme if you want to. Okay, so the planks, I'm just going to roughly look at how many I've got. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, roughly. 14, I'm not gonna do that many. I'm just gonna try and balance them out a little bit. So I'm gonna go in.
Should we be using our pencil also?
You can do if you want. It's totally up to you. You could use tape as well. Tape's good because it gives you a nice edge. You can use chalk. You can use, you want something that you can easily paint over, that's not, you're not going to see it through the painting when it's finished. I'm going to go halfway. Does everybody have a good weekend?
Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Trina.
Nice to see you too. Did you have a good summer?
Oh, it was a lovely summer, thank you. Yeah, I went to Europe, so it was really nice. Went to Cyprus to see stay with went on a big family holiday, so that was really nice.
Awesome.
I'm just putting a few guidelines here. These aren't going to be perfect. I've gone too wide. Yeah. too wide. Oh, that was unfortunate. Sorry about that. Hope nobody got dizzy.
What color are we going to do the?
So we're going to do an undercoat. I would recommend something like unbleached titanium. So you can mix raw umber with a little bit of white, and tiny bit of your cerulean blue, and that'll make unbleached titanium. Right now, we'll just get the dimensions.
What happened? Oh no.
What happened?
I don't know. I got paint on my ruler and it's splattered all over my.
Oh no.
So now I've got yellow sky.
Well, it could be a happy accident, turn into something interesting.
Oh.
Better. So the only thing with man-made objects is you have to be a bit more precise with your lines. This is why it makes it a little bit trickier. If you look at the width of the railing, that's about 1.5 inches. That's about 2 inches. So the width of the railing is about half the width directly across than your boardwalk. So that's 3. That'll be. Oh no. 1.5. About. One and a quarter. That's 2. Yeah. Okay. 3 and 5. All right. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. I mean, don't worry about too much about this until we put paint on, because we're gonna, fill it all in anyway. We're gonna be painting over it.
Julie, can you let me back in? I have to change
Yeah, absolutely.
iPads. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm late, Julie.
That's okay. How are
Oh, that
you?
looks so beautiful. Your horizon line is just so rich.
Ah, thank you.
And when you did a blue underpainting,
I did, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
with the cobalt blue and white.
It was cobalt and cerulean and white. So
Okay.
just to make it a little bit turquoisey. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to mix a little bit of so the color we're going to use is a color called unbleached titanium, but it's very easy to make. So you'll need kind of raw umber and a little bit of the blue and some white. So I'm gonna go get some raw umber. my raw umber here. You don't need very much at all of the raw umber.
And what are we making?
We are making unbleached titanium. So you can buy it in a tube. I'll show
I
you.
have titanium white.
No, it's called unbleached titanium.
Okay.
Slightly different.
Yeah.
If you have raw sienna, you can also use that. That would work as well. So unbleached titanium is like a slightly beige white. I'm going to show you. This is unbleached titanium. Oh no, camera is not wanting to stay up today. It's because I got it on the maximum thing. Yeah, so this is unbleached titanium, and it's just a little bit creamier than white. And to make it creamy, you just add a very, very tiny amount. You can either add a little bit of raw sienna and then grey it down with the blue, or you can add a little bit of raw umber and same thing. So you just want to create a bit of a very pale beige.
Luckily, I have unbleached titanium.
Yay, there you go. Yeah, if you have it, it's much easier. But if you don't have it, I'm going to show you how to make it. Melting pot here. So this is raw umber. This is my titanium white. In fact, I think that's pretty spot on, actually. Yeah, that's pretty good. Might need to warm it up a little bit with a teeny tiny bit of yellow ochre. That's why the raw sienna works quite well. Yeah, little tiny bit of yellow ochre makes it a bit creamier. That's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to block in my dock here. If you did use raw umber, that's great because we will use it a little bit more of it in a minute.
Can you see your lines through the paint?
A little bit. Yeah. It was more just so I knew I was gonna get the right angle of the dock, to be honest.
Okay.
I didn't want to draw them too thick in case they were too prominent, you know.
Which brush are you using? Is that a filbert?
I am using a flat.
Flat? Okay.
Yeah. You can use tape to get your angles straighter if it helps. I'm going to use a little bit of my raw umber. A little bit of a shadow line. We're definitely focusing on realism with this painting. Yeah, you might find a little bit of tape might be a good friend. So my light is coming this way, so I can afford to see this shadow. There's quite a dark shadow along the dock here. So I'm going to work on that shadow.
I just put my unbleached titanium down, and then can I go over the lines with the raw umber then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I think is easier for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the light is coming from the right, on the railing, I'm going to highlight the edge of the railing with light just to show where it, you know, the angle is. It kind of changes with a lighter, almost white. So I'm going to take some white, start dividing up my boards. I find it easier to do the thick lines first. You can always use tape for this.
So you put them white down first and then the brown?
Then I'll go in between, yeah. I just find it's a little bit easier.
Is that pure white, titanium white?
Yeah, this is titanium white, but it will pick up some of the brown, so it will kind of naturally go a little bit creamier.
Okay.
Your lines don't have to be perfect either. It is supposed to be a painting. There's margins for, you know, imperfections. So the railings do have a little bit of the greeny color in them as well, so you can always put in a little bit of your greens as well. Okay, so the railings about halfway along the dock. So we've got 1, 2, 3. The third one is level with halfway along the dock. So you don't see the rest really. It's only really the first 3 you're going to see any kind of detail. I'm going to go halfway, maybe a little bit beyond halfway. And these are vertical lines. And it's really important that they're vertical. And they will get much closer together immediately as soon as they start getting further away. So the first one's about there. And then once you get past that midway point, they kind of just start merging together. You don't really see the detail. So I'm going to highlight those. A little bit of a highlight.
Ugh.
Oh no. I worry when you sigh.
Oh, it's terrible. Oh, anyway.
It's an exercise.
Is that Jane doing all that sighing?
Yeah. Not been a good weekend, and this makes it even worse.
Oh no, it's supposed
How's
to be
that?
fun. This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, okay.
Use some tape.
I have.
Yeah, I did good on the bottom part, but the rails on the left side, I'm not sure how you got those to stand up.
Okay, so they need to be vertical. So this is where I'm just kind of sketching them in, and then I'm going to get some tape and check my angles. But they need to be vertical. So see, that one's a little bit bendy. So they
Okay.
need to be completely vertical. This is where tape comes in, but I need to let this dry before I put some tape on. So use whatever tools you have to help you get those. This is why man-made structures are a lot harder than natural things.
Well, it's actually the the vertical lines that I didn't get
Yep,
how you put those in.
that's really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. The up and down lines
Yeah.
are
Okay. So
fine.
let's do that together now.
No, it's the ones that you've already painted on the side that are going the same way as the not the vertical lines, but the horizontal lines.
The
On the
diagonal one?
no, yeah, the ones, not the ones you're painting now, but the ones you've already painted on the side,
Right.
the railing. That's what
Right.
I didn't get.
Right. Okay, so let's do that again together. These ones?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's helpful if you paint a little rectangle at the top. So
I
that's
did that.
the
Mm-hmm.
mine's not great because there's only supposed to be 3 railings and I put in loads, but that's okay. So draw your little rectangle first. And then if you think everything's still coming from this pivot point, okay? So all of your other angles are coming from this pivot point. So imagine that, you know, it's still all going to there, but we're taking it from this part.
Oh, okay. And then it's still gonna look like a road until I put the vertical lines in.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
This is what, yeah, it will still look like a road until you put in those other lines.
Okay.
It helps to put the highlights in as well. So I'm at the stage where I need to let this dry and I need to get some tape to help me a little bit. So what I'm going to do is save getting a hairdryer out. I'm actually going to have a little go at my clouds. Just so if you want to take a break and do clouds with me, just while you let it dry. Take my pin out. So I'm going to get some little bit of white. I am going to go on my design rather than the painted. So my design, I decided to put a cloud up here on my focal point and actually no, I took a big cloud over this way. That was it on this original drawing. And then my clouds are going to get smaller as they go on the horizon line. So I'm going to go on my sketch here. So my clouds, what I'm going to do is I put in my roughly in my cloud shape. My light's actually coming from the right. So my clouds, I'm going to be pointing towards the right because that's where my light's coming from.
What a mess.
No, I'm sure it's fine. So when I'm doing clouds, I always angle them towards where my light's coming from.
You still using a flat brush?
This time I'm using a filbert.
Filbert.
Yeah. Just to give you a little break from the dark. Always go in the same direction. I might put a smaller one over here. Clouds are smaller the lower down in the sky they are. Yeah, if ever you get frustrated with an area, just take a break from it. Yeah, I'm gonna go get my tape. I've got the worst tape ever. It won't even peel.
Don't buy anything with sticky surfaces at the dollar store. I
Yeah.
remember once one of the women's groups bought those name tags, hello, my name is, and you stick it
Yeah.
on. Within minutes, there was 100 name tags on the floor. They bought them at the dollar store. Some
Yeah.
things from the dollar store are treasures, some things are garbage.
I know. Yeah. I think this is just a bit old, this tape. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit on the old side. Oh well, it will be a guide.
Be right back. Have to feed Batman.
Sorry?
I said I'd be right back. I have to feed Batman.
Batman. Oh no.
My baby dog.
Batman. That's not his name.
Yeah, like the Cape Crusader.
Oh, amazing.
That's so funny. Love it. Love it.
Oh my goodness, my tape is the worst tape ever. It's not really worth using. Don't really have an alternative. I'm trying to get anything that's remotely straight. That's really bad. Well, with the tape, you can see where my vanishing point is. Okay, let's do this thing. All right.
Yeah, it's like my railing is leaning out into the water. That's the angle, right?
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah.
When you get a chance, now I'm at the point where I need to do the vertical lines on the
Yep.
railing.
Yeah, I will be there in just a second. It's a tricky one. You'll never want to paint a dock ever again.
Well, this is good practice.
It's all just practice and learning, yeah.
I didn't forget that you requested photos, Julie, but I went through some of my collection of quote landscapes that I would like to paint, and almost everyone has man-made structures, whether it's like down by the waterfront in Oakville. So there's a lot of benches, park benches, gazebos and stuff. So I thought it would just be too challenging for the landscape painting. And so I haven't sent you anything yet.
That's all right. You know, it's good because it's good practice to start looking at the types of pictures we can realistically do, because then you naturally start knowing when you're out taking reference photos what will work well as a painting and what won't.
Right.
I aspire to paint structures in landscapes like houses and gazebos and things, but
it's challenging. It's doable for sure. It's just a different type of painting. It's more challenging, you know. I've had an oops. I've had an oops daisy. Luckily, none of this is going to stay blue, so it's all right. Yes, it is not easy. Yeah, whenever I've had people saying, "Can you paint my house?" I'm like, I can physically paint the house, but not do a painting of the house. Right. What were you asking me, Trina?
The vertical lines on
The vertical lines.
on the railing.
Yeah.
How did you do those?
Yeah. Okay. So there's two main colors. So we want kind of our brownie color and a lighter color, like our creamy color.
Oh, well, how did you draw them on there? Like, I don't even know how
to be. So if you take a line through the middle of your dock, the second post is basically in line with the middle. That's how fast they recede. So you only really need to draw the first three, and the rest I just did like squiggles. So if you imagine that the first one is halfway across your dock, so you've got a right angle here. So so this one, I'm gonna do it darker just so you can see it. So I'm gonna go straight down. I'll do the one that goes across a bit later. I'll do the ones going down first. But the one in front, this one, is going to be significantly fatter than that one.
So when you do the lines, I have my ruler straight across like you do. The line goes straight down, or you
straight down. All vertical lines go straight. Yeah.
Okay.
So the third one is going to be a lot skinnier and a lot closer to the second one. And don't forget, as things get further away, they're going to fade as well. So don't do them all the same color.
Okay.
So again, to get the feeling of distance, you might want to make this one deliberately darker. So if you make things a little bit richer in color at the front, again, that helps with your feeling of distance. I'll have a look at what everybody's doing in a minute. See how you're all doing.
Huh.
So I'm just, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm just putting a little bit of grey at the bottom of my cloud. Okay, let's take a break from the dock and do the foliage that's in the foreground or any changes that you want to make. I know we talked about in our sketch about putting a little bit of a river in. So
Ooh, fun.
I might do that. So what I'm going to do is leave the blue of the sky and I'm just going to tint it with a little bit of green later. So I'm going to put in a little bit of a shoreline. So I'm going to use this kind of light green here. So I'm using Payne's Grey and Yellow Ochre. I might put in a tiny bit of Cerulean Blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from my sketch. And I'm going to do
Payne's Gray, Cerulean Blue.
and Yellow Ochre. What I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to block all of this in.
Oh dear. Cerulean. What color was the first one, Julie?
Yellow Ochre, Payne's Grey, and Cerulean Blue.
Paints gray?
Payne's Grey.
Pains. Oh.
It's basically like a grey black, but you can make it with ultramarine blue and raw umber.
Dear.
It's just a blue black, but it's not as dark as a Mars black. But you can make it with just a little bit of, if you did ultramarine blue, raw umber, you could make it, or you can just use black and yellow ochre and put a bit of blue in. You'll get the same thing. So you see we've got some of these like bulrushes with a little bit of kind of beige on the top along there. So I'm just going to use that beige that I used for the dock. Just going to tap along here.
Did you use white in it also? It's so light.
I just did it really thin. I'm just kind of blocking in. I didn't do it very saturated. I'm going to go back in and saturate it a bit more now. So I'll show you my mixing. So I've got my yellow ochre. And you can use black or Payne's Grey. And then you just then need to blue it a little bit, add a little bit of blue.
Here we go.
Make like a khaki blue.
Yeah.
Just makes like a khaki blue.
Right. Yeah.
Might need that a little bit darker. Oh, it's too dark.
Jeez.
How are we all doing?
Hello.
let's have a go at the grasses. Okay, so we're going to build this up in layers, and we're going to get brighter and bolder and larger as we get closer to the foreground. This is where if you have, you know, a fan brush, that would be, you know, really work in your favor. But I'm going to use this gorgeous yellow ochre. So I'm going to take my need a fan brush. I'm just going to go get my fan brush. Okay, so different types of fan brushes. I'm really fond of these. These are like a filbert with the bristles cut through. You can buy them like this. This is a little, can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different type of fan brush. I like this more than the traditional style fan brush, but everybody is different. So let's have a go with the traditional style to start with. I find these are a little bit harder to control. So I'm going to take some yellow ochre. I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. We'll give this a go. I'm starting with those really distant grasses. So the old style fan brush works not too bad. Okay, and then I'm going to get a little bit more yellow and start going a little bit brighter and longer. This is where I'm going to switch to my We go on. Switch to this one. And start adding a little bit of cadmium yellow into my yellow ochre. As it's getting more saturated at the front and larger strands, I'll bring in some kind of browns and oranges as well. Get kind of more of a variety in the foreground. About 15 minutes left. I'm going to take a couple of these brown ones all the way over. Bring some closer to us. I think we'll have to do a bit more work on this next week.
Yeah, because I didn't see the way you put the grass in, the tall grass that's near the trees.
Yeah, so if you watch the recording, hopefully.
I'll get that done before next week.
Okay, I'm going to, while I've got, before I do too much, I'm just going to put a little wash over this blue just to take it down a notch. I'm going to make it, I'm going to take that greeny color that I had at the beginning. Just do a little bit of a wash. So this is called glazing, when you take a thin down bit of color and just put it over an existing color. Just before I do too much work on the graph. Might have to wait for the grass to dry to do the rest, but you get the idea. The glazing is when you use, you're just slightly tinting the existing color. Need to let that dry, so I'm going to see how you're all doing. So I feel like my dock needs to come out wider, so I'm probably going to make that adjustment, make it a little bit wider. I feel like it needs to come out to about here. How is everybody else doing? Anybody want to show what they've done so far?
All right.
Let's see.
So I think I made my grass over there too green, but that's the hardest part for me, mixing the stuff. So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to make yourself little recipe cards of how you made it, so you remember next time.
I don't know
What
what I did to make it so dark. I kept putting the yellow ochre in there to make it lighter. I'll try some more to make it lighter. And
Yeah,
this
but
green, I know this is really light, but I always do a light green underpainting for trees and then
yeah,
paint over it.
yeah, that's fine. You've got the underpainting, and then that's a good base for your grasses. I wouldn't worry about it being that dark. I think it's a good base for the grasses.
Okay.
Yeah. So just if you watch the video on how I did the grasses, where I started off very short and muted, and then it got bolder as I got near the foreground. And
Okay.
we'll keep working on this next week.
Okay.
So anybody else want to share? And I'll take a screenshot of this and send it to you with the video.
Okay, good.
Anybody else want to share today?
Julie, is there a Padlet or something or any, I mean, can I share later?
Yeah, absolutely. You can share later. Yeah.
So
for
I
sure.
email it to you?
Working on
Yeah,
it.
that'd be great. Yeah. So I'm gonna have a look. Let's see.
It's working, but
Okay.
there's so
Oh
much.
yeah, that's totally working. Yeah,
It's coming along.
it is coming along.
Lots
Excellent.
to do.
Very good. Very
I have
good.
reached my limit.
I know you get a little bit tired of these things. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just repeat what I said last week. If you have any interesting scenes that you want to send me, then please go ahead. What I'm gonna do this afternoon is send you a screenshot of where we're up to. I'll send you the video, and I'm also gonna send you the reference picture for the next painting. With a few instructions if you do want to start preparing the base coat. So I'll send all of that to you this afternoon. Does anybody else want to share at the moment?
So are you gonna take away so you're going to extend your the bath? Is that what I really like the water around yours and
Yeah,
it gives that feeling.
thank you.
If you
It's
extend it, then you'll probably have to take that away, right?
yeah, I know. I feel it just needs to come a tiny bit wider here. I'm gonna keep it here. It just needs to go like a little bit wider. I feel just to get it's a little bit too skinny at the moment, but I'm gonna play with it a little bit. And see how I go. Anybody else want to share? Excuse me for yawning. I had like no sleep last night due to a poorly little boy. Anybody else want to share? No? Okay. Right. Well, we've got about 8 minutes, so we can keep going.
I'm gonna go. I'm
Okay.
not accomplishing anything
You're all
now.
done. Yeah, all done. Yeah, no
Good
problem.
week, everyone. We'll see you
Yeah,
next week.
have a great week. Bye,
Bye.
Jane. Bye.
Bye.
See you, Jane.
I'm gonna go and buy myself some better tea. 'Cause this stuff was impossible. I'm just gonna put a few little highlights in my trees. Fall colours are starting to show, aren't they? What I think might have happened, Susan, is I took the picture when it wasn't dry. And often when acrylic dries, it dries a lot flatter and less
Oh,
vibrant.
that might be the reason. Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's what it was. Because I know what you
Yeah.
mean. It doesn't look as bright. And acrylic does dry flatter. So I think
Interesting
it was,
comment.
yeah, I think it was because it was wet when I took the picture.
I must say, I am having fun with this. This is my first attempt doing
Oh,
anything, and I am enjoying it.
oh, lovely. Because now I'm putting the second coat on, it does look a lot brighter, but I'm thinking it might.
Oh yeah, it's the wet paint. That's
Yeah.
the reason, Julie,
Yeah.
because now it's much more vibrant. Do you want me to show you quickly what I'm still doing?
I would love to, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, the
Have you
wet paint
shot?
makes a big difference. That's why, if you put a clear wood varnish on your paintings, it gives the illusion of it being a wet painting again. It makes all the colors really, really bright.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, this is so fun. Wow.
Sorry, I lost my charge, and Apple's making their charge cord. Every time I buy an Apple appliance, the charging cord gets shorter and shorter.
It
Oh, I
sure
know.
does. Yep.
Oh, that's lovely. So fun.
It is fun.
I
I'm a paint miser, so this is when I'm using real paint, and so this is fun. I can waste as much paint as I want.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Yeah, I love
Where
it.
I missed it. I'm in gallery view now. What were you showing, Susan?
I've never owned a tablet, and I just bought
Oh,
the new
okay.
iPad. So I'm doing the paint. This is my first creation on an iPad or any electronic medium.
Gotcha.
It's fun.
That's amazing.
I wasn't sure if I'd enjoy it. Like another friend who does a fair amount of art, she says, "No, you're too tactile. You're not going to like it," but I do like it.
Oh, I'm
You
so
know,
glad you like it.
Susan, if you miss the tactile, you can also use your finger to paint. You don't have to use the stylus, and then it starts to feel like you're involved.
Oh, that's a good
Finger painting,
suggestion.
yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that. I occasionally, because I learning about the eraser, because the eraser follows the brush selection, and I sometimes find it's just easier to erase with my finger.
Yeah. I mean, I do enjoy using the iPad. I don't use it that much at the moment, but I go through stages. But yeah,
So I
that's
had
really
to do
fun.
a little bit of adjusting with my dock. My angles weren't quite reading right, so I did apply a little bit more tape and just made a few slight tweaks, and I'm much happier with it now. So here I'm just kind of putting the water back in where I changed the angles, and then I'll be putting those kind of posts back in shortly, and you can watch me do this. I'm going to speed up the video a bit so you don't have to sit through all of our chit chat. We do have a lovely class, and we like to talk, but you don't need to listen to all of that. Well, I hope you found that interesting. I'd love to see how you paint this picture. If you would like to tag me on Instagram, it's Artfully You, or on Facebook, it's Artfully You. Leave comments below, and I'll catch you next time.